Dear viewers, brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to another episode of this exclusive season of Ahkam SOS. And as you all know, the show is dedicated to be discussing Islamic do's and don'ts and to be answering all of your questions, inshallah. You can send in your questions via WhatsApp or the YouTube comments, or you can give us a call via the number presented to you at the bottom of the screen, or you can just scan the barcode presented to you alongside with the numbers. But before we get into the show, I am your host Musa Ali, and I would like to introduce our honorable guest for the night, Sheikh Ali Maash. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
How are you tonight?
Alhamdulillah,
inshallah. Well, thank you very much. Beautiful night in the holy city. So Karbala. May Allah bless you, inshallah. Sheikhna, we have a few questions from yesterday's night. We have a question, and it says, it's from YouTube, and it says, do Muslim men need to wear head covering to cover hair? And what is the ruling on haircuts and skin fades for men? Are stylish haircuts permissible? Does the hair need to be covered?
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله.
السلام عليك.
وعلى أخيك أبو الفضل عباس عليهم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. Of course, there's a recommendation in terms of for the Muslim men in the past, as we saw in the Arab times. But they used to wear amama, turbans.
No.
And we have a narration which says al-imama tijan al-Arab. So it was like a crown for the Arabs to wear it. Even in the Islam era time as well. We see still some Muslim countries like, I think, Sudan and Afghanistan, they still wear the turbans.
Correct, yeah.
So that's, of course, recommended in terms of the costume and the libasul muslimin in overall. But there's no compulsory or wajib to do so, or to cover your head, for example. With regards to the haircuts, of course, they're all allowed, unless it's extreme to the fact that it would be tashabbuh bil kuffar, for example, or bin nisa, that it looks like some of the non-Muslim, let's say, singers or actors.
Correct.
Or tashabbuh bin nisa, that looks like the woman, for example, in the haircuts. Otherwise, majority of the haircuts should be fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, thank you very much. We have another question. It says, can men pluck or shave their eyebrows? And Jazakumullah khair.
What is forbidden is to shave the beard. We have that the beard for the men is not allowed to be shaved. Trim, yes, but make sure that when you see each other, you can define and to say that, well, he has beard, for example. That's the wajib, or forbidden to do so.
Inshallah, thank you very much. We have another question via YouTube. It says, can I be friends with a non-mahram?
The Holy Quran states, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَلَا مُتَّخِذِ أَخْدَانٍ. In other words, you cannot, as the Quran states, be in a friendship with the opposite gender. That's forbidden. Unless through some kind of, as I've mentioned before, nikah contract, aqid, and so forth of the marriage, short or long term.
Yeah.
That is the only way in which you can have in that friendship. So one should avoid it unless you do it through a proper aqid of nikah contract.
Like during in work hours, or when someone in work, he has like another colleague who was in the opposite gender. Is that also forbidden, or is it permissible?
If the conversation is just a professional conversation, it's about the work or study or, let's say, coursework, to that limit it should be fine. But it shouldn't exceed, as you said, friendship.
Yeah.
Akhdan. That's the problem. When it's friendship, when you go to the cafe, to the restaurant, for example, the problem is when it comes to the stage of banter, mufakaha, as mentioned in the Kutub al-Fiqh, charm, cracking jokes. That's the problem where haram starts to kick in. That's the problem.
Yeah, inshallah. Thank you very much. We have another question. It says, can I eat products that have alcohol vinegar?
Indeed, one can actually consume the vinegar of the alcohol, let's say white wine or red wine alcohol. You can consume. It's no longer alcohol. It's a vinegar.
Correct. Yeah.
It's a vinegar. It's been, as mentioned in one of the conditions of the tahara, that it became purified with inqilab. Inqilab al-khamr khal, as mentioned in the fiqh, that this transformation of alcohol or wine to vinegar would of course lose that original substance which was intoxicating, which had such and such smell and taste. Everything changes. So yes, one can use alcohol vinegar. There's no issue with it at all.
Yeah. Thank you very much. We have another question. It says, can we make a movie and photograph, with non-mahrams without hijab and mixed gatherings who usually wear hijab?
That's a problem, to be honest, for the one to be in that gathering and take photos, especially if they take their hijab.
Yeah,
it's even worse. One should avoid it, definitely.
Correct. Thank you very much. We have another question via, I'm sorry, that question was via WhatsApp. We have another question via YouTube, and it says, Assalamu alaikum. Can one wear perfume and surma or kuhl during Ramadan?
I've mentioned that as one of the mustahabbat is to wear perfume in the month of Ramadan. There's no issue with it. It's mustahab, as mentioned in the riwayah, is the masterpiece for the sa'im, for the one who is, it's like a gift for the sa'im, for the one who is fasting. Ala kulli hal, there's no issue with it, no.
Inshallah. Thank you very much. We have another question via WhatsApp. It says, Assalamu alaikum. What types of kuhl allow water to pass through for wudu?
One of the ulama was mentioning about the kuhl in which it's not, it doesn't prevent, when somebody wears the kuhl, it wouldn't prevent the water to reach the eyes, for example. So it should be fine. But anyhow, you have to make sure the type of kuhl that you buy, it allows for the water to reach, you know, the places of the locations of the kuhl that you wear. So it depends on the type. I don't know what types. You know, sometimes you have some kind of, you know, we have seen with the mascaras, they have some kind of waterproof mascaras. Nowadays they're producing. So that's a problem. Waterproof mascaras is an issue.
Okay.
You cannot do ghusl or wudu with this type of mascara, for example.
Okay.
So for the kuhl, you have to see if it allows the water to reach the location of the kuhl. Should be fine then.
Inshallah. Thank you very much. We have another question via YouTube. It says, can I listen to Islamic nasheed with music?
As I've said before, ulama differ in this case. Some of the ulama would consider all types of music is forbidden, even the classical ones. So be it in nasheed or other places, you cannot listen to music at all. The other fuqaha's opinions, other group, they would say that no, the forbidden one is the one who is played or used in the entertaining or corruptive environment, such as the nightclubs, for example, or sometimes we see in the restaurants or cafes. That type of music is forbidden. But the classical should be fine, for example. So one can go back to his marjan to see if they allow the classical music, then they can do so.
Correct, inshallah. Thank you very much. We have another question. But brothers and sisters, before we get back into the questions, I would like to remind you that you can give us a call via the numbers presented to you at the bottom of the screen, and inshallah we'll be at your service in answering all of your questions. Or you could just send us your questions via WhatsApp, also to the numbers presented to you at the bottom of the screen. Or you can send them through the live on YouTube, and inshallah, and just drop your questions in the comment section below, and inshallah we'll be at your service in answering all of your questions, inshallah. Sheikh, we have another question via YouTube. It says, can one get a flu vaccine during Ramadan?
Yes, indeed, there's no issue with it. The one can, as I've said before, all types of injections are allowed, except the enema injection from the lower part of the body, which goes towards the, towards the stomach. You know, the liquid injected through the lower part towards the stomach. That would, of course, invalidate the fast. But other than that, should be fine.
Inshallah. Thank you very much. We have another question. I believe it is also from YouTube. Is buying lottery tickets, halal?
As mentioned before, the lottery which offers or provides or supports or sponsors charity organizations, you would pay for it, and you know that this $1 or £1 would go to, let's say 70%, 80% would go towards the charity organizations. I think we have in the UK National Lottery, very famous. In the early 90s, they established this charity in which 60-70% of it would go towards the charity.
Okay.
This type of charity is allowed, but the one with chance and gambling, of course, that would not be allowed at all.
Okay, thank you very much. We have another question from YouTube. It says, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Questions regards najis. When does the water become najis?
If you have qalil water, let's say a cup of water, and a drop of blood falls into that water, of course, that water becomes najis. Likewise, if you have a saucepan with the food being cooked, and it falls inside that saucepan, of course, and let's say you have a stew being cooked,
yeah,
that would all be najis as well. Even if you have a big pool, let's say a swimming pool,
yeah,
and the color changes as a result of, let's say, the blood of a slaughtered sheep, let's say, being gushed into that water, then of course that change of color, smell, or taste would also makes that water of the pool or the pond najis as well. So qalil water would make it straight najis with even a drop of najasa.
Yeah.
The kathirul water, like a pool, by the change of the color, taste, and smell.
So do they have to be all together, or can they just be?
No, just the color, let's say.
Just one.
That's it. You have to basically avoid using that water as a result.
Okay, thank you very much. We have another question. It says, can I remove my hijab in time of danger?
You see, it's a very awkward question. Best thing, if you are in danger, you have to go, and if it's the situation of danger, then you have to ask your marja''s opinion with this regard. You go back to the office and explain to them the situation you're in and the severeness of the danger. Then they will, of course, you can get the specific or ijazah from the marja'. Sometimes you need a specific ijazah, special fatwa ijazah for this purpose, for this person. So best thing to go back to the office of your marja' and ask them for a specific ijazah. But anyhow, you cannot take your hijab if there is a, what is danger. We have to find out what danger is, for example.
Inshallah, thank you very much. I believe we have a phone call from one of the brothers and sisters out there. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. I want to ask a question.
At your service, brother.
We are Pakistani and we eat spicy food for suhoor every time.
Wow,
But when we finish the suhoor and for adhan, after adhan, when we wash our mouth, we still have a taste of spice in our mouth. I want to see, is my fast still valid or no?
Okay.
No, there is no issue with it.
So.
It should be fine. The fast would be valid. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Before we go to the next question, I have a dua to also explain and give the sharh for dua of iftitah as we start after the iftar. This beautiful dua. In this section of the dua, we say, Allahumma adhinta li fi du'aika wa mas'alatika. Oh Allah, you gave us the permission to invoke you and ask you. By this, it's a great blessing that Allah Azza wa Jal allowed us to say, Ya Allah, and ask Allah Azza and beg Allah Azza wa Jal for our hajat. Allahumma adhinta li, you gave me the permission to ask you and to invoke you. And then we say to Allah Azza wa Jal, Fasma' ya sami' madhati. Oh Allah, listen to our praises. Wa ajib ya rahimu da'wati. And oh Allah, answer my call, my haja. Wa aqli ya ghafuru athrati. Oh Allah, forgive my faults. So you can see that Allah Azza wa Jal gives us this blessing that we can invoke Him and ask Him and to say, Ya Allah. By itself it needs hamd and shukr on this blessing that we can, in these holy nights, raise our hands and say, Ya Allah.
Ya Allah. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. I believe we have another phone call. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Assalamu rahmatullah.
At your service, brother.
Do you know, my question was, when we have the ziyarat, so if someone makes the intention for ziyarat,
I'm sorry?
and
okay.
not able to go because of financial issues.
Correct.
So they're not able to go because of financial issues. Would they still get the sawab of the ziyarat for the intention that they made, and then for doing the ziyarat, but they're not able to do the ziyarat? Okay, so that's one question. And then, you know, like people say, if you're not able to do the ziyarat of Imam Hussein, but you could go to the replica shrines, Jaluses, like in peace walks and stuff, would that be sawab to go to them same as to the Imam Hussein ziyarat, but it's just a replica? Okay.
Okay, at your service, brother. Thank you very much for your call.
Yes, ahsantum, barakallah fikum. Initially, we have a famous hadith which states, إنما الأعمال بالنيات ولكل امرئ ما نوى. The amal, the deed is with an intention, and you'll get the reward for the intention that you made, even if you couldn't do that amal.
Correct.
Allah Azza wa Jalla is merciful, is Rahim, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim.
Allah.
He would give the rewards even if you couldn't achieve your goal in terms of the ziyarah or the umrah or the other acts of good deeds. So inshallah you get the reward. So that's number one.
Inshallah.
Number two, was it about
whether if someone could go to like a replica shrine of Imam Hussein?
Again, the ulama say anything that becomes as a part of the rituals, Sha'irat al-Hussein alayhi salam, or the Sha'ar al-Bayt, then it becomes of course respected, and inshallah you get reward as well, and the thawab for that, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have another question via WhatsApp. It says, if you make the genuine intention to go ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam in Karbala, okay, I believe that was the same
Exactly.
brother who,
yes.
yeah. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Assalamu rahmatullah.
This question is from WhatsApp also. It says, Imam Ali alayhi salam says, people are of two types. They are either your brothers in faith or equal in humanity. Where does our Sunni brothers fall into between these two categories? And think.
As I've said before, that in the Quran we have إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ.
Correct. Yeah.
And the Iman is more akhas than the Islam. Islam is to have the two shahada. And of course, we are as one ummah. All believe in one God, Allah Azza wa Jal, in one book, the Holy Quran, and the prophets, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Of course, we share common aqidah and belief, indeed. So there's some kind of brotherhood in this case,
yeah.
General brotherhood. But the akhas and the more specific brotherhood is in the iman, the wilayat of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. That is the most important. إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ. I said this before. If you can find hadith or even a verse which is إِنَّمَا الْمُسْلِمُونَ إِخْوَةٌ, bring it to me please and enlighten me. Mu'minun, and the iman, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, is for those who have the wilayat of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam and follow Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. So this is the true haqiqa iman. Otherwise, Muslims are Muslims in overall, yes. They have the shahadatain. We are allowed to, as I've said, to eat their halal slaughtered animal, as we do in the UK. We get it from majority from Ahl Sunnah. Marriage is also allowed, and other acts. So yes, respected as others are respected in the Aqidah as well, in the Shia.
Inshallah. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have another question via WhatsApp. It says, can you lick your lips while fasting if dry, and will particles enter your mouth?
You have to make sure nothing goes inside your throat of the particles. Even if you lick your lips, for example, and it remains wet, and you try to suck that wetness, it's problematic. You have to avoid it unless it dissolves within your tongue, becomes part of your tongue, of saliva. Otherwise, one should avoid it anyhow.
Inshallah. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have another question via WhatsApp. It says, Assalamu alaikum. I am very weak in reading Arabic in general, Holy Quran. So I listen to audio online and follow the same on the Holy Quran. Like he has the physical book in his hand. Is this a good deed rather than not reading it at all, or read with mistakes in pronunciation?
What you do is the right thing, indeed. Continue on it until inshallah you memorize and read the Quran and the verses and the dhikr correctly, inshallah. Carry on.
Inshallah. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have another question from WhatsApp. It says, Assalamu alaikum. Can you read Surah Al-Fatiha for a deceased non-Muslim, but someone from Ahl al-Kitab, so for example, a Christian?
The problem is they don't believe in Surah Al-Fatiha. They don't believe in the Holy Quran. I also had some discussion and debate with some Christians. That they said the Holy Prophet who wrote the Quran, na'udhu billah. So they don't believe in the Quran. How could you read and send the thawab to somebody who doesn't believe in the Holy Quran?
Yeah.
Ala kulli hal.
Inshallah. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have another question via WhatsApp. It says, Assalamu alaikum. What happens if you don't do ghusl after your monthly cycle before Fajr prayer? Is my fast still valid? Thank you very much. Jazakumullah khair.
One should do the ghusl before the Fajr. It's very important to be clean and tahir for to commence the fast of the month of Ramadan.
Inshallah. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have another question via YouTube. It says, is swimming pool water najis? And after swimming, should one do obligatory shower?
The pool's water is more than qur, let's say, because qur is a amount given for the kathir al-ma, a lot of water. In such waters, as I've said just a few minutes ago, if the color changes, or the smell changes, or the taste changes, of course, now you have to avoid it and, wash yourself as a result. Becomes part of the najasa, mutanajjis.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you swing with others who are not Muslims, for example. No, there's no issue with it. It's all tahir, yeah. Unless you come in a cross-contamination with the najasa itself, then of course you have to purify it.
Inshallah. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have another question. It says, Assalamu alaikum. If we have a dental appointment for a tooth extraction during fasting, what is the ruling? If I postpone the appointment, it will take a long time to get another one. If I go ahead with the tooth extraction, do I need to pay back one fast or 60 as a kafara? Ahsantum.
No, you can go and make the treatment, that's fine. And if something goes inside unintentionally, it should be fine. Make sure nothing goes inside. Just do your best to avoid it. Yeah.
Inshallah. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have another question. It says, if one falls unwillingly, and all of his head is immersed in water, or if one immerses his head in water, having forgotten that he is fasting.
No, his fast is not invalidated and batil. It remains correct and valid because, as you said, unwillingly he fell inside the pool. It should be fine, because one of the fast invalidation and mubtalat as-sawm is to immerse your head inside the water or the pool or dive in. One of the ulama would not consider this as mubtal as-sawm, so he wouldn't count this as part of the mubtalat as-sawm. But in anyhow, if this happens unwillingly, it should be fine.
Inshallah. Thank you very much. And we have, I believe, the last question for tonight. We are running low on time as well. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. How does the process of purifying with the sun work, and what things can we purify with the sun? I heard especially the example of the bark after a dog has urinated on it.
Basically, you have to allow, there should be wetness on that, let's say wall, wetness, and the sun shines on that wetness until it dries it, then it becomes tahir in this way. As simple as that.
Inshallah. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have come to the end of tonight's episode. Brothers and sisters, we ask you that you send your questions via WhatsApp or the YouTube comments, or you can give us a call via the numbers presented to you on the bottom of the screen, or you could just scan the barcode presented to you alongside with the numbers. But for now, we end tonight's episode. And inshallah, you can please do stay tuned for the upcoming episodes. And we do apologize for the brothers and sisters that have sent in their questions, or we weren't able to answer them, or the phone calls that were able to be answered. But for now, thank you very much for tuning in. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Our society is rampant with corruption.
Immorality is spreading far and wide.
We are battling with ideologies we've never heard of.
You want to stop your children from wavering from the path?
You want to fight back against deviation and impurity?
You want to see light overtake the darkness.
You want to witness our communities thriving.
We are in need of a voice
to pioneer a spiritual revolution.
To be the access for moral guidance and direction.
Become an ambassador.
Instigate change.
Allow the values of our faith to prevail.
Propagate the teachings of Muhammad and his holy progeny, peace be upon them.
Do what you can to keep the message alive.
This holy month of Ramadan,
don't miss your opportunity to make a pledge
to ensure the message reaches the next generation.
Tune into Imam Hussein TV 3
every Friday from 8:30 to 10:30 p.m.
after iftar.
Only on Imam Hussein TV.
You're Imam and you're in his city. His body stayed for 3 days. No one called anyone to come for the janazah.
And this is proof of al-maut, and that this is wa'ad Allah. And it makes you think that people come and go as we were promised. And yeah, this is proof. I'm coming back. Like I have a shagla, I need to do something, I'm coming back.
ولا جعله الله آخر الأحلام.
Oh